In this video, I will show you all of the major updates that we plan to release in the Dialog System 2.0 update. The aim of this video is to get your feedback, so if you have any thoughts about something that you will see in this video, make sure that you leave a comment. If you already own a Dialog System and you would like to try version 2.0 before it is released, you can write me an email or contact me on Discord, and I will send it to you. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the changes one by one. We can start with the creation of a character. Previously, what you had to do was to right-click and create a new character scriptable object, which had some predefined fields like name, emotion, position, etc. All you have to do now is go to Edit, Project Settings, Dialog System, and here you have a bunch of options. Firstly, we have character settings here, where you can create new character simply by expanding this characters list, and you can create a new character simply by writing its name. If you want your character to have some additional fields, for example emotion, you can add this field under character fields. So let me show you how to create a new field. In the Project tab, you can right-click and select Create Dialog System Field. Let's name this field Emotion. And each field has a few properties that need to be set. Firstly, the label property is the label that will show in the Dialog Tree editor, and it is also the name that you will use in the code to get the value of that property. I will set the label to be emotion, and since we want to have a predefined emotions, I will make the field type enum. And here in the choices list, I can add all of the different emotions that our characters could potentially have. Now, in order to add this field to my character, we will need to go back to Edit, Project Settings, and Dialog System Settings. And here under Character Fields, we can add this emotion field. So what I will do, I will click this plus button, and then I will search for emotion. Now, in order to apply these settings, so whenever we make some changes to dialog settings, we will need to regenerate the code, as this message says. So let's close this and let's go to Tools, Dialog System, Regenerate Code. Once the code has been regenerated, you should be able to see that every single character field, so every speaker and then every listener, as you can see here, has an emotion field. So what I can do now is simply set the speaker and an emotion to all of my characters. That's included also within the choice node. Now, if you want to get the selected emotion in the code, all you have to do is go to a function that has some character in it. Let's say the onDialogNode function. And now here, let's say that we want to get access to the selected emotion of our speaker. So what we can do is we can say DialogNode.speaker. That's how we access the speaker. And then when we write dot, you can see that the autocomplete shows us all of the properties that are available to us, including the emotion that we have just added. So let's add this emotion here. And now, as you can see, this is an actual enum, so we don't use strings. So this is not string based, and this can really save us a lot of headache. So what we can do now is we can say emotion, speaker emotion. So we create this variable. And now if we wanted to do some special logic, if a happy emotion is selected, we can do something like if speaker emotion equals emotion.happy, and then here you can fill in your logic. Very similarly to character fields, you can add a new fields to nodes as well. So if you take a look, each node has only a very few predefined fields, but you can add as many fields as you want. So if you recall previously, each node has a predefined field called time, which was a float. So let's try to create such a field now. So we can right click and select create dialog system field. I will call this field time, and I will also set the label to be time. Then the field type is going to be a float. And now to actually add this field to each node, we need to go to dialog settings. So let's go to edit, project settings, dialog system. And here I will add this field to each node except the end node, because we don't really need it there. Once that's done, we can close the settings and let's go to Tools, Dialog System, Regenerate Code. Once the code has been regenerated, you can see that each node has a time field where I can input a float, and it's working pretty well. To access the value of time variable in code, all you have to do is go to a corresponding function. Let's say that now we will go to on choice node function. And now if we write choice node dot, the autocomplete again shows us all of the available fields, including the time field. And now if you take a look, it is an actual float, as you can see here. So what we can do is we can create a float variable called time. And now we get access to the value of this variable. And what we can do is pass this variable to a function, for example, wait, that will wait a specified amount of time. So that's how you can add fields to your nodes. Now the choice node is kind of a special node, because if you take a look at dialog settings, you can see that the choice node has two sections. The first one is for adding fields to choice node, but the other section is for adding fields for each choice. So that makes it very flexible, because if you wanted to do something like a point system where each choice adds a certain amount of points, what you could do is simply create an integer field. So let's create a new field called points. I will make the label points. And then let's set the field type to be integer. And now if we go to dialog settings, we can add this field to our choice fields. Let's regenerate the code. And once the code has been regenerated, you can see that each choice has a field called points, and we can input the amount of points that we want each choice to have. Another change worth noting is the way you define dialog events. Previously, you had to create a scriptable object dialog event for each and every event that you wanted to create, but that wasn't very practical. The way you create dialog events now is very simple. You just go to Edit, Project Settings, and in the dialog settings, you can see this dialog event section. Here you can create a new dialog event simply by writing its name. Then you can go ahead and regenerate the code. And once the code has been regenerated, you can go to Dialog Event Manager Game Object, add a new event here, and let's say that we want to map the show dialog UI dialog event to the actual Unity event. So let's say that we will select Dialog UI Manager and we will call the setActive function. Now to actually call this event from our dialog, what we can do is create new event node, and here we will just select which dialog event we want to call. Now the way you create dialog variables is also very similar. If you want to create a new variable, you just go to Dialog System Settings, and here you first of all, under the dialog variable settings, you will firstly choose what kind of variable type you want to create. So let's say that we want to have a new integer variable. So let's add a new one, something like number of hearts. That will represent the number of hearts that our player has. Now let's go and regenerate the code. And now once the code has been regenerated, we can go to Dialog Variable Manager, and under integer variables, we can map our number of hearts dialog variable to the actual variable of some game object in our scene. Now I don't have any variable or any game object that has number of hearts variable here, but I'll just show you how this works. So let's say that the child count will be our number of hearts variable. So this is how you map dialog variables to actual variables. And now to actually get the value in the dialog, you simply create a new if node in the dialog tree, you add a condition, and then you select the integer variable type, you select the dialog variable from the drop-down menu, and then you can check for some condition using some operator. Let's say that we want to have at least 3, and then we do something if it is 3, and otherwise we do something else. So these are all the major changes that we plan to release in the 2.0 major update. I hope that you will like these changes. In my opinion, the ability to create fields is very powerful and makes the system even more flexible. Now, one thing I would really like to know is what other field types you would like to see when creating the fields. I think there are quite a few right now, but if you come up with an idea for some other field type that could be included, make sure to leave it in the comments, as your feedback can really help us improve the dialog system. Thanks a ton, and hopefully I will see you soon.